Welcome to episode 33 of Miami Masterclass. I'm Ian. In today's episode, we are going to run through the month of April 2019 to start off the season. We do have a little bit of housekeeping to get through first. You'll remember in the previous episode I mentioned this man, Damian Magnifico. I picked him up in the Rule 5 draft, but didn't bother taking a screenshot of him, thinking that he probably wasn't going to hang around in the team much longer, so, I might as well just skip him entirely. But here we are, the opening day, and he's in the rotation, so I thought I'd better get a screenshot of him. He was in AAA the last couple of years, and last year in particular he put up fantastic numbers. His ERA plus was way over 100 there, so that is very, very promising. His whip is right down. His Ks to walks is fantastic too. It's about 4-1, so that's why I picked him up. In terms of his ratings, they're not bad. His control's perhaps a fraction low, but his stuff is very, very good. His movement's not too bad either. So as long as he can sort of control his cutters, his change-ups, we should be all right. His fastball's right up there as well. So he's a bit of a gamble, but I quite like him. The other player as well that I didn't mention, I picked him up in the Rule 5 draft, is this guy, Devin Blasky. Picked him up from the Yankees. Now, he's dropped off quite considerably, actually. When I initially signed him in the Rule 5 draft, our scout had him as a potential rating of 5. That's dropped dramatically, as you can see. He's all right. I mean, I'm keeping him in the team because we have the room to do so. I don't think he's going to be hanging around much longer. Of course, as soon as we let him go, he's going back to the Yankees. He's average, isn't he? There's nothing fantastic about him. He was only in Single A last year, so stepping up into the majors is too much of an ask for him. So I'm keeping him around because we can afford to at the moment. We don't have anyone in AAA that's being kept out of a position in the majors, except for this man, Michael Chavis at shortstop. He's down here at the moment. So he may possibly come back up if Blasky does absolutely nothing. We've got that ability to do so. We can get rid of him and we can bring Chavis back up, particularly if injuries start mounting up in the infield there. If we lose sort of anyone from Panic, Tejada, Castellanos, Profile, any of them, we can bring Chavis back up, and we're not too worse off in that regard. I did have a quick look offline before I sim through this. We're going to get rid of this man, Matt Ramsey, assuming we win the claim, because actually on the waiver wire there's someone that looks very, very good. So this is the man that we're going to replace with, hopefully, where is he on the waiver wire? This man. We're going to bring in Francelis Montas. I've never heard of him in my life, but he's obviously been around in 2015. He was with the White Sox. His ERA is sort of a bit poor really, but last year he made 44 appearances for the Houston Astros, and his ERA is not terrible. So we're going to bring him in with a claim if we can, if we pick him up, and let's get cracking. Let's get cracking for the month. Now, a good month will be crucial. I'm hoping for sort of 500 ball, because we got players like Magnifico coming into the team, and there we go. We did pick up Montas, so that's really good. So I'll do that now. But yeah, so if we sort of play 500 ball, knowing that we've got players like Aaron Blair and Damian Magnifico, who aren't particularly solid players, then we should be all right. I mean, I'm not expecting anything fantastic from these guys. As I put Matt Ramsey down, bring Montas into the team. Because that's what happened last season as well. We had players like Aaron Blair and Dan Slania who were really costing us because they weren't ready for major leagues. So we were winning games with Jose Fernandez and Bumgarner, and then we were losing against when we had players like Aaron Blair on the mound. So hopefully we can keep that up this season. 500 ball would be really good. Anything over 500 ball would be fantastic. We've got a stacked lineup. It's mainly our pitching that's going to cost us. So we seem to be holding our own. We're playing 500 ball. Now all these guys, they were in the 40-man roster before. Players like Kohler, David Phelps, they're not major league ready. I'm keeping them in the AAA just because I can. This guy, Arturo Rodriguez, give him a quick mention. I really thought he may have been able to step up into the majors, but it seems like he's fallen away a little bit. In the last player development report, his contact dropped ever so slightly, and look, I don't think he's ready for the major league. Particularly, we got someone like Raul Muto and Schwarber who can play back up to him. So Rodriguez isn't going to find much chance, and plus his age, he's getting on a little bit now. If he was going to make the majors, he should have done it a while ago. I'm not going to rule him out, but he's back down in AAA. He's not even on the 40-man roster anymore, so that's a little bit disappointing there. We'll carry on for the month. We will sim a little bit through May as well, just so we can extend the length of this episode slightly, so that when we do the draft in June or July, whenever it is, we haven't got the episode's not too long. As you can see, we're 5-7. I mean, Washington had a fantastic start. Atlanta's actually struggling a little bit. They're 3-9. I know it's early days, but we're hovering around that 500 ball, and we can't afford to let Atlanta and the Mets catch up to us. But I did say 500 ball. Washington are 11-6, so they've started off with a real bang. I think they swept us, actually. We'll have a quick look at the schedule when the month is over. And there we go, with 500 ball. If we can get one more win, we will finish just above 500 for the month. Which would be fantastic. Let's have a quick look at any news. Anything that really stands out. Doesn't really look like. We got our scouts recommended this man. He's got real potential, doesn't he? But avoiding Ks, that's right down. So he's in our international complex. We'll keep him down there. And we did. Now, Youngman, our trade, who we picked up from, Minnesota. He's done fantastically. ERA of just 1.27 in 4 starts. He took out batter of the month for the National League. That's a really good signing. So he's given us 4 wins. I don't know whether it's deserved or not, but yeah, that's fantastic stuff. So let's have a quick look at the schedule, at the standings rather. So to end the month of April, we're going to do another week. So I'll have a quick overview of April. 10-10. That's what I said. I said I'm happy with that. We're only half a game back. Considering Washington started off with a real bang, we've kept up with them quite significantly. Atlanta are on a 5-game winning streak, so they've caught up with us as well. And the Mets aren't too far behind, and they're in last place. So that's really promising. I mean, if we can sort of keep 500 ball going, and then towards the end of the season, once players like Magnifico have come into their own a little bit, then we'll be really in a really good position. But we'll do one more week, and then we'll have a look at the stats for the team. There we go. And so we've lost Cutch for 6 days. I won't bother taking him out. That's going to be a real blow. And we'll carry on. We don't have many more games to play, to be honest. I'll get through to sort of like, the 8th or 9th of May, something like that. There we go. So we'll stop there. So May 6th, and it looks like that's a good place to stop because we're sitting pretty at the top of the division. Not by much, only by a game over the Nationals, but the Nationals have really fallen away. Look at that. They're 2-8 in the last 10, and we're just playing over 500 ball in the last 10. We're on a 3-game winning streak. That's really, really good. I mean, if we can keep that sort of form up, we're going to really push for the playoffs. As we'll have a quick look at the NL leaders here. Anyone here? Andrew McCutcheon's on a 15-game hitting streak, so he's been a really good signing for us. Admittedly, he's been out for a few days with ankle soreness, but hopefully when he comes back, he can carry on where he left off. Otherwise, Taylor Youngman's leading wins, but he's probably played an extra game or two, so you can't really look too much into that. Jose Fernandez there, he's obviously playing for San Francisco now. 44 strikeouts, that's losing him's a real pain. And on the American side, is there anyone... I was looking at home runs, because what I'm really interested in seeing is Texas, because I really want to see Giancarlo Stanton, see how he's getting on. Because he's even on the team? I can't even see him there. Perhaps they got rid of him. Pong-Soo Kim... His gap power has gone up. His contact has gone up slightly, I think, as well. So he's turned into a great player for them. But started the year quite slowly. I mean, last year, look, he didn't do very well. He actually put up better numbers with us. And this year has been a very slow start. But it's only been whatever it is, 5 weeks into the season. But they don't seem to have Stanton anymore. So I'd like to actually know what's happened to him. So we'll have a quick look. So excuse the tapping away on the keyboard. No, so he's still there. I wonder what has happened to him. So he's out. Okay, he's out for an injury. So he was out. Must have been injured during spring training or something. Oh, there you go. He made 2 starts, and then obviously got injured. So he seems to be getting injured quite a lot lately. But yeah, so let's go back to our team, because that's what everyone really cares about, don't they? Cutch is leading batting average, which is really, and home runs. Castellanos has got 3 runs batted in. Cutch, Schwarber, Castellanos, they're all doing very well. I mean, Cutch, what a signing he's been. He's been fantastic. He leads everything. Taylor Youngman's putting up great numbers. I obviously expect that to fall away quite considerably as the season goes on. But I mean, he's doing very, very well lately, so I can't complain at all there. Connolly's leading strikeouts. He was always second fiddle behind Fernandez, but Connolly always puts up decent strikeout numbers, so he's now leading, unsurprisingly, and of course he's leading WAR as well. In terms of National League rankings, though, we're not doing that great, are we, with the bat, to be honest? Considering we've got such a stacked lineup, we're struggling a little bit. I mean, 5th and 6th isn't terrible by any means, but I expected us to be slightly higher on things like batting average, particularly on base as well. I kind of thought that might have been a little bit better, because as you can see, our runs against, our starters ERA, and even our defensive efficiency are all very, very good. So it's actually the complete opposite's happened to what I thought. I thought our pitching was going to be woeful and our batting was going to be up and ranked around 1st or 2nd in the National League, and that hasn't happened. In terms of who's hot, look, Abraham Almonte has done very well. Adam Conley, not too surprising, of course, Cutch. So Abraham Almonte must be coming in for McCutcheon there by the looks of it. But then maybe he might have been playing in left field, because it looks like Casey Soltis is injured as well. Hopefully he's not out for too long. So I'll have a quick look at the pitching then. Let's have a look at pitching stats. So this is just for the entire season so far. So Aaron Blair, yeah, look, he's still struggling a lot, isn't he? 635, but he did get a win in that. K's to walks isn't very good at all. His ERA plus is right down. I'm really ashamed about Aaron Blair, because he's not that bad, and particularly when you look at someone like Damian Magnifico, whose ERA is actually very good considering who he is. He's only just come into the majors. He's putting up all right numbers. His ERA's plus is a little low. It's below 100, but he's doing much better than Aaron Blair, and Aaron Blair's had an entire year. So yeah, this is a little disappointing from Aaron Blair. Perhaps he's the weak man after all. But Damian Magnifico has done Magnifico, really, considering that's a terrible joke, and I don't blame you all if you unsubscribe from my channel for that. But he's put up very, very solid numbers. He's struggled a little bit lately. But yeah, I can't really complain about that. If he keeps that ERA down, I mean, the win-loss, I don't look at too much, because it's a crapshoot. It all depends when the bat's fired, doesn't it, as to whether or not players like Magnifico sort of get the win or not. I mean, if he has a poor start and then we come back and win the game, he's already been pulled, that sort of thing. It's stupid. So I don't look too much at the win-loss. I mainly focus on the ERA, and the ERA 4, not too bad. K's to walks, looks like it's a sort of 2-to-1 ratio there. That's not too bad either. His whip is quite high, but I can't really complain. There's nothing that I can see from him that I think, yeah, look, he's a weakness in this team. It's Aaron Blair in the rotation. Otherwise, Conley, Finnegan, and Youngman have all been doing fantastically well. I do expect this to fall a little bit. Players like Youngman, I mean, if he can keep 170 up, then we've got a potential MVP or Cy Young Award winner in our hands. But I don't think that's going to happen. Finnegan, he's doing very well. Adam Conley, everyone in that rotation really, except for Aaron Blair, I'm very pleased with. As we look down at our rotation, which was our bullpen, which has been a real weakness for the last few years, seems to be holding its own as well. Baez doing quite well. DeFratis, he's been putting up good numbers. He was our only free agent signing, aside from Cutch. Yimi Garcia, 5, not great, is it? But I can't really complain too much. Every player has a bad sort of showing now and again. Montas, obviously we picked him up on the waiver wire first day, right at the beginning of this episode. Look at that, ERA of 0, fantastic, 6 innings pitched. I can't complain at all there. Addison Reed, now he was our closer initially. His ERA's not doing terrible there. He's holding his own, because looks like RJ Alvarez is now our closer, and his ERA's right up there. That's a little concerning. But then he has got an ERA plus of over 100. So does Addison Reed, 161. Dan Slania been a little disappointing, 430 ERA. Yeah, look, I'm he's another one. His numbers, his pitching ratings, like Aaron Blair, he should be doing a lot better than he is, really. So I don't quite know what's happened there. It looks like that game on the 2nd of May, which happens to be my birthday, looks like he had a bit of a shocker in 1.1 innings. He gave up 2 runs there, 3 hits. Yeah, that's not great. So that's obviously bumped his ERA up quite considerably there. So, yeah, look, not great, but not terrible. I mean, bullpen ERA, something that I do keep forgetting, and I kind of have to remind myself is it's very easy for your ERA to blow up because they're only pitching, an inning or 2 every so often. So one bad inning, throws them out where in the rotation you can have a bad inning, but you can recover and keep your ERA quite low. So I do have to bear that in mind. But Dan Slania, again, I expect him to do a little bit better, but he is, look at that, his ratio is perfect there. It's 3-1. So that's fantastic for K's to walks. But we'll go to the lineups now, just to have a quick look. So Raul Muto's not been playing much, has it? So it does look like Schwarber is going to be the catcher, the regular catcher by the looks of things. And he's played all the games, Kyle Schwarber. So we'll have a quick look at fielding stats. 2019, so he's made 18 starts at catcher and only 6 in left field. So I wonder what our manager sees in him that he doesn't see in Raul Muto. Admittedly, Raul Muto's batting ratings aren't the best, but he's a much better catcher than Schwarber. And we've got Raul Muto sitting on the bench doing nothing most of the time, and he's on $9 million. So maybe we could get rid of Raul Muto, shop him around, and possibly pick up another man for the rotation. Get Aaron Blair out of there. But otherwise, Raul Muto's been really struggling, hasn't he? He's not done very well in the few starts that he's made. CJ Cron, he's been going down and down and down. He's batting .224, Ops Plus of 78 there. AJ Reed has been slightly better. He's got less isolated power. His slugging's a lot lower, but his on base is actually higher than CJ Cron's. So that's one for the future, AJ Reed. I really kind of expect him. He's another one that we picked up in the Rule 5 draft. I picked him up from the Astros. And he could be someone quite good, really. I'm quite keen to see how he performs. Particularly as CJ Cron as just keeps declining, doesn't he? Look, his numbers from 2017 were 281, then it's 235, and now it's down to 224. I hope we haven't blown it with him. I hope he's not on a decline already. But AJ Reed looks like he could possibly replace him, if Cron does take a massive nosedive. Joe Panic, I don't even know where he's been playing. It looks like they're sort of platooning all through the infield, but he's been playing second base for all his games. And he's putting up 282. Very good numbers. He's a real sort of solid performer. He doesn't put up amazing numbers that blow you away. He just keeps chugging away, putting in decent on base. I can't really complain about him. He's solid. Ruben Tejada, he made a lot of starts last year. He's only made 5 this year. He hasn't done very, very much. But 478, I mean, look, I can't really comment, can you? Because he's only made a handful of starts. He's made 28 plate appearances, so you can't really compare him against the other players. Castellanos at third base. Now, remember, he came in from Martin Prado. Martin Prado was always putting up solid average. Castellanos has struggled a little bit. Look, his on base is right down. Average isn't fantastic. But he has got decent isolated power there, so that's not too bad. Anything that really stands out there, he's drawn 7 walks. Got 16 runs, so he's our top scorer, really. Early days, again. We're 5 weeks into the season. I expect that average to go up ever so slightly. Profar, he's had a very poor start, hasn't he? 177 average, isolated power of just 0.10. Yeah, look, his Ops Plus is the lowest behind Pulaski. Can't really say him, and Raul Muto is actually in the minus. So Profar's had a poor start to the season, so that's promising, because don't forget, we're leading the division. We're 14 and 12. If we can get some of these players, performing higher, like if Cron bumps his average up a little bit, Castellanos, Profar, if all of them start hitting, we could go on a massive winning streak here. Kyle Schwarber, has been playing catcher, funnily enough. He's going 258, Ops Plus of 113. That's not too bad, is it? We haven't got... except for Cutch. Cutch has got 6 home runs. We've got 3 on 3. We've got Cron, Castellanos, and Schwarber. So if all three of them can keep contributing, then we should be doing all right. It does look like Casey Soltis is playing in left field, and you know what? I'm quite pleased with that. 276. Yeah, I can't really complain. He's putting up very similar numbers to what he did last year. Admittedly, he only made 64 starts last year, 126 appearances, made quite a few plate appearances. So that could be why they've thrown Schwarber in to catch a role, because they want, obviously the manager wants Soltis in the team, and obviously you can't not have Schwarber in the team, so Raul Muto's just missing out. But now that Soltis is injured, it's obviously just happened. Date of injury, 4th of the 5th, so that was only 2 days ago, so we should be getting a diagnosis in the next episode. And I mean, if he's out for months, which wouldn't not surprise me in the slightest, then we'll most likely see Schwarber perhaps back in left field. Raul Muto will come in to catcher. Otherwise, we're going to have to play someone like Almonte in left field. He can play left field, and he's not been doing too bad either. Let's see where he's been spending most of his time. Looks like he's back up for everyone, isn't he? He's back up for Mazara, for Cutch in centre field, and for Soltis as well. So he's playing a real that proper backup role. But he's been putting up solid numbers in the few starts that he's made. So you can't, again, just like I said with Tejada and even Raul Muto to a certain extent, you can't really say too much about him. Devin Belaski, he's actually made a start. Did he play in centre field? No, he started at left field. But he did make an appearance in centre field. This guy, who looks like he needs a shave on the left side of his face. But, yeah, look, another player. He hasn't totally disappointed me too early. He's only made 9 plate appearances, so you can't say anything. But this man has been the standout, hasn't he? Andrew McCutchen, 24 starts so far, and he leads us in absolutely everything. You name it, he leads us in it. Batting average right up there, fantastic stuff. Isolated power 270, that is brilliant. Ops plus 170. I mean, if he can get his ops over 1,000, then he's going to be a superstar. I'm so glad we picked him up. He's costing us oodles of dosh, 27 million, but it's worth every penny at the moment if he can fire us into the playoffs. And Nomar Mazara, who the last couple of seasons, after his breakout season, which year was that, 2017, where he put up brilliant numbers, he cooled off quite a lot last year in 2018, and this year he's had a slow start. I'm not going to look too much into that. As you can see, our head scout has bumped his home run power down a bit. It was 16, I think, maybe even 18, and that's gone down quite a lot. Same with his contact has dropped. OSA ratings still have his home run power up a bit higher. Our head scout seems to think he's a bit more of a contact hitter than the OSA ratings. And giving him a little bit more discipline at the plate. But yeah, look, I mean, if he can keep around that 250 mark, I'll be happy with that. Of course, given the choice, having Stanton back would be preferred right now. But Mazara's not a bad player, and like I say, if he can put up similar numbers to what he did last year, I'll be happy. Obviously, 2017, I should say, was his big breakout year. But we're only paying $7.5 million. Oh, I'm not too disappointed with him. So we will just have a quick look, just to run it out at the schedule to see who we really struggled against, see if we got swept by anyone. Washington, they were in that great form when we played them, and so they nearly swept us. Otherwise, we split the series with the Phillies. We beat Atlanta. We lost to Tampa Bay. What about the Phillies when we played them again? Did we sweep the Phillies then? Yes, we did. We swept the Phillies then. That's a huge result. And then we took 3 games out of a 4-game series against the Mets. So that's really promising. So that'll bring us to a close for this episode. So we're just into May at the moment, and we are sitting 14-12. We're sitting top of the standings. Very early days, isn't it? You can't talk too much. So just remember to pop a like on there for me, and if you enjoyed today's episode, and if you've got any comments, please feel free to write to them. I always read them, and I always take into account every suggestion that you have, even if I don't totally act on it. And we'll see you again with another episode soon. Thanks for watching.